get Adam Johnson. He is down on the Louisiana coast. He's monitoring BP's efforts to try and put in a short-term fix in the hope of buying itself some time. Adam?
Hey, thanks, Eric. It's First Light here at Operation Raise a Bill. I've got two pieces of good news for you this morning. First of all, the wind has died down. It was 50 miles an hour. It's now a dead calm here in the harbor, still 10 miles per hour out where they're trying to deal with it. Point number two, and this is a big one, they are building these underwater domes. They literally are about 4 stories high. They weigh 70 tons. They're made of concrete. The first one is complete. They're going to drop that down in a few days. The theory is you drop this dome over the leak. You then put a pipe from the top of the dome all the way up 5,000 feet to the surface to a waiting oil tanker and put the leaking oil into that oil tanker. There are 3 leaks down there right now. The first dome's complete. Domes 2 and 3 should be ready in about another 3-4 days, and by next week, in theory, all 3 domes should be in place and taking that oil from the leak up into this awaiting tanker. So a little bit of good news for you this morning, Eric.
Adam, some people are raising questions as to how effective those domes can be at a depth of 5,000 feet, but let's assume for a moment that they work. At that point, will we be back to call it business as usual?
Well, I'll tell you, it's certainly not business as usual. If you look over the past 10 years, the number of drilling rigs, in other words, rigs exploring for new oil in the Gulf, is down dramatically. Of course, it was 129 back in 2000, then 95 years ago, 53 right now. There are several reasons for that. Of course, it's very difficult to go down that far, 5,000 feet. And of course, there are fewer leases available, which was why President Obama was talking about expanding leases. And finally, of course, just recently, the economy, it's been very difficult to make all this happen. And now from east to west, there are political pressures facing, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger saying no to Plains exploration on wanting more leases out in Santa Barbara. That would have been $100 million. He said, we don't need that $100 million, and that's really the issue. Down here, people are worried, of course, that it's been difficult for this industry as a whole. It's been in decline here in the Gulf, and this could be perhaps, at least by some measures, the last nail in the coffin. That's the worry. So some good news on the spill, some bad news for the industry.